Hi, Dr. Jeff Goins here with the Dwarven Tavern one more time at Gen Con Day 4. And we're talking to Chris from Callope Games. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm just peachy. So I'm always peachy, even when I'm not. Today is, or right now, is it today or is it just this year? The 10th anniversary.
This year is the 10th anniversary of Suro.
Okay.
So this is a little game that could. Began with WizKids 10 years ago, and it's gone through some changes and iterations and sequels and spin-offs, and so we're celebrating all things Suro this year. We actually have a whole museum of Suro back here that people have been checking out. So yeah, we have the original prototype that Tom McMurtry pitched back 10 years ago when it was called Squiggle. Can you imagine the 10th anniversary of Squiggle?
No.
It's got the WizKids Redbox version, which some people still own their original copy and have the worn board and everything. We have the new edition. We have Suro of the Seas, which is the second in the line, and we have the very strange curiosity, which is Asteroid Escape, which is basically Star Wars Suro that was only sold in France for a very short amount of time. So we're celebrating Suro. We also have a luxury edition that comes out in 2016. This is premium luxury stuff. Wooden carved box, opens on a hinge, silk inside, a bag you reach into to get out the tiles, which are a resin, but they feel like stone, but they have texture to them, so they can't stack like Suro tiles. You actually reach into a bag and you place them. These beautiful carved miniatures that'll either be like a resin or a metal. It's basically the best possible Suro experience you could ever hope for those who are those discerning gamers looking for the tip-top Suro experience. This will be the centerpiece of their collection. It's going to be incredible. So we're working to get the production and factory just right, because if it's not going to be the very best, we move on to the next one and say, what can you do for us? We've looked at game factories. We've also looked at furniture factories to actually manufacture this thing, because we want it to be so just amazing. It'll blow people away when it comes out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So what do you have for us today to show us?
What I have here is a prototype of our next release. This will be released either late this year or early next year, depending on how the printer does with getting it to us and the holidays and everything. But Thieves is a card game for 3 to 6 players, and in a nutshell, all players are thieves. You have scored the heist of the century, you've knocked over banks, you have opened up the safes, you've got all the loot, and now you're trying to get away from the cops who are hot on your trail. So in the game you have various types of loot, ranging in value from 1 to 3. And when you play the game, you'll have a hand of cards. You draw once you have 4, and you can play a card face down in front of you. This is your stash. Or you can play a card face up in front of another player, making it into their stash. The reason you might want to do that is because another thing you can play are police cards with different amounts of helmet icons, either 1 or 2. But once 4 of these helmets appear on the table, the 4th one gets played, it's a raid. Someone's going to get busted. Everybody has to flip over all cards in their stash, and whoever has the most loses all their cards. So not only are you trying to build up your own stash, but you also are trying to push off a little bit of that risk on other players. A smart man named Ken, who worked the booth this weekend, said, it's about being the best thief, but not yet. So you want to make sure that you get the great stuff, but you also push off a lot of the stuff. And then there's special cards. There's things like the Siren. If you play this to the table, all other players have to play any police cards from their hand to the table. This will probably trigger a raid. So if someone's getting way too far out ahead, you can play that and get them busted. Now, if you're the one, though, who's got the most loot, you don't want that to happen, you might play a barricade. The barricade is going to remove all police cards from the table. It's going to clear out that danger. Then there's some special thief stuff you can do. This is the thief card. You can move one loot card from one player's stash to another, so you can push off a little bit of stuff. And then there's the fortune card. This one makes you draw the top 2 cards and play them immediately. So it might help you, but it might not. And then finally, we have a couple of special loot cards. There's the ring. The ring is very valuable. The police are looking for this thing, and if there's a raid, this thing's worth 3 points because they're on the lookout for this. But at the end, if you own this thing in your stash, it's only worth 1 because these days it's hard to fence a really hot ring, you know? It's just the way it is. And then there's the horseshoe. This thing is the opposite of the ring. During a raid, no police are looking for some horseshoe, so it's only worth 1. But if you have it at the end, turns out it's solid gold. You can melt that thing down and it's worth 3 points at the end of the game if you have this. So people will go back and forth. They'll be sending this, they're trying to grab it. They'll be sending the ring away. I don't want this thing, it's too hot. And there's a timing mechanism. The last card that's in the deck, there are 8 of these getaway cards. Anytime this is drawn, it immediately gets played, and then another card gets drawn instead. This gets put on the table, and when 7 of these are on the table, the game ends immediately. So as these getaway cards start piling up on the table, everyone's desperate to get as much as they can in the stash, while hoping no one plays a siren and busts the person who's got the most.
It sounds intense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fast-playing game. We've played with kids, we've played with adults, and everyone comes away with a big smile on their face. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's it's thieves, and it's a deck of cards, and it's obviously very cool. It looks like it's loads of fun. How long does it generally take a game to play?
15 minutes or so, and the plan right now is. It'll be $9.99 retail, and it'll be in a small box, about the size of our Roll For It box. You'll have the cards. You'll also have a token that will be a loot token. So if you want to play multiple rounds of it, because it is so quick, and if you play with a bigger group, sometimes it's over in 5 or 10 minutes. You can play a round, and then whoever wins gets a loot token, and the first person who gets 2 of those is the winner of the game. So we're looking to do it so that you can play multiple times if you so desire.
Okay, so, and you said this was the prototype. When is it going to be available?
Going to printing, we're going to be finalizing the rules and the box art, putting all that packaging together, and then we'll be going to print sometime very soon. So it really depends on how quickly we can get that turned around. We're hoping that we can have this in stores by Christmas, but if we want to be very realistic about it, we'll definitely have it available at the beginning part of 2016.
Okay, that's very cool. Now, when people want to get this game, where can they go?
They'll be able to find it at their friendly local game stores. It'll be available through all major distributors. It'll also be available on our website. We'll have a page for it. You can go there and you can look at the rules and everything once we have all that pretty art and everything put together for that. So it'll all be available through us or through your friendly local game store.
Okay, and what's that website?
www.calliopegames.com.
Awesome. So don't forget to keep looking for them. They've got a bunch of other games. They've got Double Dominoes and Got 'em and Suro of the Sea, which we will hopefully be reviewing soon, we hope, because it looks awesome. We love Suro, so of course when we see something that's cool or cool, it's just exciting. As you can tell, I'm pretty amped, and a ton of other games. So don't forget to look them up. And that website one more time.
www.calliopegames.com. Do I say www, or is that like an old thing? It's http://calliopegames.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Calliope Games. We're all over the internet. So
the interwebs.
The interwebs. You can fax us. You can. We'll send you a laser disc. I don't know.
One of the big ones. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Chris. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Hope we are able to come back and see the 20th anniversary of Suro.
Absolutely.
So that was Chris with Callope Games, and I am Dr. Jeff Goins with the Dwarven Tavern. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more.